Hey guys! Today I am doing the Q&A video! Woohoo! You guys have been asking this for a very long time, so I'm finally getting around to it. Alright, let's just get into it, shall we? So I asked you guys on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, I don't know, all the social medias for questions. Let's start with some questions from YouTube. K-Mac asks, do you have any advice about overcoming jet lag? Well, okay, also, first of all, if you hear snoring, it's because there's that little guy, Cooper, is on the bed. Okay, sorry, not sorry. Okay, so advice for overcoming jet lag. Yes, I would say actually the best thing to do is just not think about it at all. If I'm going on a long flight and there's going to be a big time difference, I really like to try to arrive in the morning of wherever I'm going. I sleep on the plane and then you arrive in the morning, so then you just, in your mind, it's like, oh, it was nighttime, I slept, now it's morning. And then you just go about your day. Don't take any naps. That's like a key. Just go about your day like normal. That night you'll probably be really tired. You go to sleep and then you wake up in the morning and you're like, fine. I don't know. That's what I do. I just don't overthink it. Just go with the flow. And you know, there are always the people who are like, oh, back home it's 3 a.m. right now. Like, don't do that. Just don't even think about it and you'll be so much better. At least that's what works for me. Soupy B asks, does the working visa for Australia also count for New Zealand, or are those two separate applications for two separate countries? Yes, they are two separate. They are two different countries, so two separate applications. Yes. The second part of the question is, in your experience, what were some of the countries that were most budget friendly in terms of hotel, hostel, food, activities, etc.? Well, definitely Southeast Asia, so cheap. I haven't been to South America or Central America, but I hear it's very cheap to travel there as well. Yeah, Southeast Asia, for sure. So good. If you're on a budget, it's an amazing place to travel, especially if you're a new traveler, because it's so easy to travel there. Do it. JP, my friend JP asks, what's the strangest food you've had on your travels? This is kind of, I don't know. I honestly don't think I've tried any like really crazy foods. I never have. Although JP and I did a trying Thai snacks and candies. We did some videos about that and some of those snacks were really strange. You know what I'm talking about, JP. Other than that, I guess I haven't been that adventurous in trying new foods. I mean, I try new foods, but I haven't tried anything weird, so nothing comes to mind. Sorry, that was a bad answer. Olair. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I know you're always sending me comments. Don't know how to say your name, but you asked, so what type of work are you planning to get when in New Zealand? Well, I don't know. I really don't. I really don't want to work at a restaurant or a bar just because I've done that so much in my life and I just want to experience, I just want a new experience. But I also know those are the easiest jobs for me to get because I do have so much experience. I don't know. I would love to do something that kind of like adventure-y or like, I don't know. It all kind of depends where I live, and it's really just, I just want a part-time job to pay the bills, and then mostly I want to focus on videos, so we'll see. Laura Pearson asks, what type of things do you research before traveling to a new place? Well, sometimes I'm good at this and sometimes I'm bad at this. I'll be the first to admit, sometimes I don't do as much research as maybe I should. But I'll usually research, well, if I'm going to a foreign country that speaks a different language, I usually like to at least familiarize myself with basic words and phrases like hello, thank you. That I think is really important to try to know when you go to a new country. So I'll look at that. I usually will just, I mean, Google is like my best friend. I'll usually just Google like best things to do, or sometimes I'll look at like blogs or like I'm in like some travel Facebook groups, so maybe like people have talked about what they like to do. Maybe I've seen something on YouTube. I used to be all about like the Lonely Planet books, which I think are really good. However, I haven't used those for a while now. I don't know, I just look on the internet for things. The most important things I think you should know: what is the currency, any like if there's any kind of like clothing restrictions that you should know about for visiting certain temples, or just general wear, things like that. Any customs, what's tipping like there, that's very important, I think. If you need any shots before going there, that kind of stuff is important. Is there a malaria? Do you need malaria pills? There's a lot of things actually you should look up before you travel. And if you're doing a long trip, like there are special doctors you can go to that say, and you say like, hey, I'm going to Thailand, what shots do I need? And they'll help you out. Emily Davidson asks, oh, how do you sustain your travel lifestyle? Okay, that's actually my most requested question. I'm gonna do a whole separate video just on that because I feel like it requires a longer answer. So look for that in the future. Matt View Martinez asks, what was your most recent scared, worrisome moment with your travels? And how did you overcome it on a positive note? So this was actually pretty much the only time I've been scared recently. Was I was in Christchurch at the hostel, and I was staying in a 6-person dorm room. It was all females, and there was just this one woman who was like an older woman, I would say at least 50, I don't know. She was just the weirdest. Like, I have never felt more unsafe being around a person after just meeting them than I felt with her. She just seemed completely emotionally unstable. Like, I arrived at around 9 p.m. These 2 other girls arrived basically at the same time as me. They're on my same bus. We all get in, they were friends, like they were talking to each other, and the woman was just like making these comments to them like, oh, you two and your little jokes. Oh, you think it's so funny, don't you? And they were like, what? Like they were talking about like nothing even. They were just talking, I don't even know. They weren't being weird at all. They were being so normal, and she was just so weird. Basically, like, she just said stuff that like did not make sense. Like, it was just like, it was like she was in her own world. And then the next night I was downstairs editing until a little bit later in the night. Not that late, but by the time I got up to the room, everyone, like, the lights were off and people were sleeping, which is fine. Like, I always, you know, I came in like very quietly, and like, but as soon as I opened the door, she like shines a flashlight right in my face and like doesn't say anything, and I'm just like, okay, like, and I already know she's kind of crazy, so I don't want to interact with her. But then she just like says the weirdest things to me, and then she's shining this flashlight in my face this whole time, and she like turns it off, then turns back on, then off, then on, and off, then on. And I was like, what is happening? And I don't want to make a lot of noise because people are sleeping, so I just like pretend like it's not happening. And I go to bed, and then I'm still awake though because she's awake, and then she just starts pacing around the room and she's talking to herself, and I hear her be like, my name is Victoria, and I have a, right at the moment when she said I have a, somebody like shuffled around and made a lot of noise. So I did not hear what she said, but it was like, my name is Victoria and I have a blank and I know how to use it. And I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, what did she say she had? Like, she could have said a gun, a knife. I don't know, maybe she had just said flashlight. Like, I have no idea what she said, but it freaked me out so badly. Like, I could not sleep. I don't know, I can't even fully describe how creepy she was. It was just the weirdest thing, and she was just pacing around the room all night, and that was the scariest I've been. And really, I did nothing. I should have probably done, like, I thought about going down to the front desk, but I knew it was closed, and I thought about like just leaving the room, but then I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm being irrational, so I just did nothing. Anyway, it ended up being fine. So how did I live on a positive note? I just thought positive thoughts. Orfal asks, for having health insurance in the US, is it mandatory, or do you pay a penalty when doing your taxes? Does travel insurance count, or do you have to pay that penalty if you don't have regular health insurance? Yes, so the health system in the US, it's a little bit tricky. The rule is you have to be insured with health insurance. Otherwise you get a penalty of I don't know, a percentage of your income. You won't get charged the penalty if you can prove that you've been out of the country for 330 days of the year. So basically you have a month that you could be in the country for, otherwise if you're out of the country that whole time, then you don't have to pay the penalty. If you're in the country for more of the time and you didn't have health insurance that whole time, and travel insurance does not count as the health insurance, so I don't know, it's complicated. I'm probably just gonna have to pay the penalty this year, and I'm okay with that because paying that penalty is way cheaper than paying the premium for health insurance every month when I'm gone. So these are the small prices you have to pay, but that's okay. Jenna K asks, how long do you plan to be in New Zealand for? Well, my visa is good through the end of March, so probably till then. Yeah, and then, yeah, so that's the plan. Martin's Travels asks, are you going to VidCon next year? I don't know. Oh, so they're doing an international VidCons next year, and they're gonna have one in Amsterdam and one in Melbourne, and I'm actually pretty keen on going to the Amsterdam one. That's in April, because I love Amsterdam, it's so good, and haven't been there for a few years, so maybe. It kind of all depends where I am and what I'm doing. I don't know. Alright, so those are all your questions. Thank you so much for watching. That was part 1 of the Q&A. Stay tuned for part 2. That will be coming up very soon. Also, now that I answered your questions, I would really appreciate if you could answer some of mine. I just kind of want to have a better idea if I'm on the right track and you're liking my videos and what I could do better and things I could improve on. It's good to get feedback like that once in a while. So I created a short little survey that asks some really just easy questions. If you don't mind, if you have the time, please fill it out. I'd really appreciate it. So the link is below. Yeah, thank you so much. And thanks so much for watching. Subscribe for more. Bye guys. I'm feeling better. My face, I think it's gonna have a big bruise tomorrow, but everything is good.